Are you moving into the Austin area and you have fallen in love with the outdoor life in Austin? Then this video is going to be for you. I am going to cover 8 Greenbelt neighborhood areas that you might want to consider living in if you're in the process of picking out a place to live in Austin. My name is Julie Hutchison. I'm a realtor here in Austin. This is my YouTube channel, Austin, Texas Area Living. Please subscribe. I do deep dives like this with all kinds of topics, cost of living, if you're moving here to work at a specific employer, top neighborhoods, all of that. So subscribe to my channel. And if you could like this video and give me some feedback and comments, and I'll continue to make more for you. A lot of people love the Greenbelts in Austin, as do I. This is a great video because I don't even have any cons. I'm just gonna give you top 8 Greenbelts, all my personal opinion. And it's because it's so refreshing to get out, get into nature, whether you're going to take a dip in a swimming hole or paddleboarding, canoeing, hiking, biking, roller skating. We have it all here as far as outdoor life. And it's the reason a lot of people fall in love with Austin. Well, the Greenbelts in the city of Austin have been around as long as the city of Austin itself. And the city has continued to protect certain areas, continue to add, continue to maintain the trails. And so you have the opportunity to go all the way from north or east Austin. And if you're bike riding, you could connect all the way down to south, and it just goes on and on. I think they're actually, I heard a while back that there's a plan to connect Austin to San Antonio as far as Greenbelts go. So it is definitely alluring for people moving into Austin, and it's something you'll want to understand. And it took me a while to understand because they run together. Some of them have names, some of them don't. There's different trailheads. You can get lost. I've gotten lost in them before. And so it's it takes a little bit of time unless you're out exploring these Greenbelts on a regular basis. So with that, I'll get started. The first Greenbelt that you might want to consider living around is the Barton Creek Greenbelt. It's probably the most popular in the city of Austin, and it spans out west and then kind of curves around and comes down south in Austin. And in that little corner is Barton Springs, which is a cold spring that you can go and swim in. Pretty cool temperature, but it feels really good on a hot summer day. And it's pretty popular, it's pretty crowded. But outside of that designated swimming area, there's Barton Creek, with lots of little areas that you can take a dip and swimming holes that are free and you don't have to pay an entrance fee. And so a lot of people spend time on the Barton Creek Greenbelt. It's just a beautiful place. You have things like Sculpture Falls, Twin Falls, Campbell's Hole, several trailhead entrances, and then we have Zilker Park, which is a huge park next to Barton Springs. And so a lot of the community spends time, even if you don't live around Barton Creek, you'll probably ultimately spend time there. And so some of those neighborhoods are Barton Hills, Oak Hill, East Oak Hill, Travis County, Regents, and these are some of our older neighborhoods in Austin. And so they are going to be pricier. It's pretty close to downtown. Some of the homes will be older, some of them will be torn down and rebuilt, some of them newer. But for the most part, it's kind of on the higher end of the price point because it's such a draw. It's such a wonderful place to live. And so it's a great place to consider. And if you love the Barton Creek Greenbelt, then you'll want to take a look at these neighborhoods around that area. So one of my favorite things to do on the Barton Creek Greenbelt is climb the Hill of Life. It's a trail that has quite a bit elevation, and I usually do it backwards where you kind of go down several, it's almost like stairs for quite a ways, and then you can go hike around the river, and then on the way back you're climbing up several flights of stairs. I don't even know how tall it is. I know it's enough for me. I've seen some people go up and down it a couple times, but going up just one time is enough for me. So one of my favorite things to do, especially if I'm looking for a workout, I also enjoy going to Barton Springs, especially in the summer, taking my kids there. Outside of Barton Springs, there's another section we like to call Barking Springs, and a lot of people take their dogs to where Barton Springs pours out into the rest of the creek, and that's where like all the dogs like to go play in the water. And so Barking Springs is another area you can explore. It's just a great place in the summer with that really chilly water. I think it's 67 degrees, I heard. I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a great place to spend when you're really hot in the summer. Okay, number 2, I'm going to take you all the way up to the very top north part of Austin to the Brushy Creek area. I love this area. There's a park there called Brushy Creek. It's a really long park, and it extends through several neighborhoods. One of the neighborhoods that this park runs right through is called Avery Ranch. We also have Oak Brook, Spanish Oaks, and then the town of Cedar Park, all right there. So lots of neighborhoods around this park, and it's a great park for running. There's picnics, there's sports in the park. A lot of mountain bikers like the trails that are in the park. So Brushy Creek is a great park, and it's nice because you can live in a more suburban area. It's kind of the opposite of Barton Creek that runs right through the middle of the city. Brushy Creek runs through North Austin and Cedar Park. And so if you want more of a suburban type home and a suburban type neighborhood, then you might want to consider the Brushy Creek Greenbelt. Okay, the third greenbelt that I'm going to talk about is Walnut Creek. And we actually have like an upper and lower section to Walnut Creek. So it's a pretty big greenbelt, and it runs on the east side of Austin. It starts on the south and east side of Austin, and then it goes up, and then it turns and goes west. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe it starts west and goes east and south. That's probably more like it. But Walnut Creek is a great area. And it's kind of, especially on the east side, I am seeing them develop that out more and more. It's been there a while, but I'm seeing more trailhead signs go up. And so it's a great greenbelt if you want to live on the east side of Austin. Kind of starts on the southeast side of Austin, and then it goes up next to University Hills, which is a great neighborhood. And then as it turns over to the western side, you're going to get Copper Tree, North Austin, Four Seasons, and these are kind of a little bit older homes, but not super old if you were like in downtown South Austin. And so this is a great area, great mountain biking park, same thing, playgrounds, picnics, roller skating, all kinds of stuff that you can do in this park. But you might want to check out Walnut Creek, both the upper and the lower sides. I would probably do them on separate days, but there's a lot of neighborhoods that surround that area. So if you just Google Maps Walnut Creek, upper and lower, you'll be able to see the neighborhoods that surround that area. Okay, the next area I'm going to talk about is Slaughter Creek and Bear Creek. We have some neighborhoods that run through that area, as well as parks and continuance of trails. One of the bigger neighborhoods in that area is called Circle C. Very popular kind of suburban Austin, South Austin area, and lots of areas to explore over there. Circle C is a neighborhood, Legend and Western Oaks, Sunset Valley, Brody. We have lots of South Austin neighborhoods that surround that area. There's a park over there called the Veloway, and it's in that Greenbelt area, but it has a long paved trail. And so a lot of people like to go over to that trail if you like to ride on like a sidewalk, or if you like to roller skate or walk. So the Veloway is a park you might want to check out, and then the neighborhoods that all surround that area in South Austin. Okay, number 5, and I have to mention this one. It's probably not the biggest or one of the biggest ones in Austin, but it's my area, and that's Mueller Park, Mueller neighborhood. Some people say Miller, some people say Mueller. But it's here in Central Austin, and there's basically the airport used to be here, and then when the airport was relocated, they redeveloped this area, and they built a park, and then they built several green belts and trails around the park. And so it's a very urban area. There's the park itself, and then around it is restaurants, farmers market, and actually the main park is Mueller Park, but then there's several other parks that they've put in the development itself. And so it's a great area to go walking. It's a great area for kids to ride bikes or bring their little scooters, roller skating, that type of thing. And then next to that park, there's a couple other parks. There's Patterson Park, and there's a green belt that runs behind some of the neighborhoods. So again, this area is pretty urban. You're not going to be able to really get in water anywhere, but there is a lot of bird life. There's fishing, and as I mentioned, it's a great area for like little kids because there's paved sidewalks, and it's not too long. And within that park and Greenbelt area, there's the neighborhoods of Mueller, which is the planned development that came after the airport. And then there's some of the older neighborhoods, Cherrywood, Wilshire Wood, Dellwood, Windsor Park is kind of close to there. So lots of really cute neighborhoods. It's considered central East Austin and pretty good proximity to downtown and University of Texas. So it's a great area to consider. It's my area, so I like it, and I'm personally fond of it. I like the walkability as well as the bikeability and location to central Austin. Okay, the next item, and this one is kind of similar in that it's very urban, is the Peace Park area. So Peace Park is a long park that runs north to south off of Lamar and almost into downtown. And it's a park. There's festivals that happen there every year. They also do a lot of interesting art installations in that park, and it has trails that run north to south within that park. And I like this one again because it's urban, so you don't have to drive a long way to get to you, and there's lots of neighborhoods around it, so you can walk to it as well. Some of the neighborhoods that surround Peace Park are Clarksville, Old Enfield, and West University, right west of the University of Texas. So lots of neighborhoods around it, and it's a great area just to get away. Kind of, it's not at all like it, but just Central Park comes to mind, where you're in the middle of a city and then you have this long park, and it's not at all the same, but it's just in the middle of the city, and so it's a nice area to get away when you're kind of needing a break from the hustle and bustle of the city. Number 7, we have the St. Edwards Bull Creek area. And this is in north and west of Austin, and it's just a little oasis in the middle of a neighborhood. So we have quite a few neighborhoods around this area. We have Spicewood, the overlook at Bull Creek, Great Hills, and Oak Forest, with a few others that are right around that Greenbelt area. And I like this one because you can, if you go to St. Edward, you can literally you're parking on the side of a road, doesn't really look like anything's gonna be there, and then you get under the canopy and there's like this little waterfall area. It's really shady, and you can even take a dip there if the water's fresh. Sometimes with our greenbelts we have algae, and they tell us not to swim or not to have our dogs swim. But usually when we get a lot of rainfall, especially in the spring, that's when everybody starts to swim. And then as it heats up, and if there's a drought, then we don't swim in it anymore. So you kind of have to learn when to swim and when not to swim. But if you go there after a fresh rain, the water is just really refreshing, and it's just right off the side of the road. You have no idea that all of that exists right there in a neighborhood, basically. So that is a great area. It's North Austin, and beautiful homes out there. A lot of them were built around the 90s time frame, so you'll have some larger homes. It's in the hills, and it's a good area because it's still good commuting distance into Austin, but it's a little more suburban, and then you have that green belt right there. So that's an area you might want to consider. And then lastly, number 8 is, and this is kind of a cheating one because I've already talked about Barton Creek, but I'm going to talk a little bit specifically about downtown and Lady Bird Lake. And that kind of comes off of Barton Creek, but I like to kind of give it its own classification because downtown is completely different living. You're probably going to live in a high-rise condominium. If you go a little more east, you might get a small bungalow, but for the most part, downtown, you're going to be in a condo. Or if you go a little bit north in Clarksville, then you could get an older home. But anywhere in that whole downtown area, north of the river, and even south of the river, you're going to have a green belt that surrounds Lady Bird Lake. And so Lady Bird Lake is just a dammed off river, but so you can call it river or lake, but the official name of it is Lady Bird Lake. And within that area, you're going to have a trail that runs all the way around it, the north side, south side, and a couple bridges that cross over it. Some of it is crushed granite, some of it is paved, some of it, there's a boardwalk that goes onto the water. And so a lot of people like to jog there or walk there. You see some people biking through there. A lot of people bring their dogs. There's a few dog parks along the trail. And if you live in downtown, it's just walking distance, or even if you work in downtown, it's just walking distance, and a great urban oasis, just like I've mentioned some of the other parks. And then if you like to paddleboard or kayak or canoe, people will either bring their own or you can rent them. There's a few places to rent them. We actually have rowing teams that practice every day on the water there. And so you get all kinds of stuff. You get, you know, like I mentioned, the dogs and the water life and the hiking and the biking. And it keeps, you know, everybody happy in this town to be a part of nature as part of their regular daily life, even in downtown. So that's the draw. People love the Greenbelts in Austin, including myself. I absolutely love them. And so if you want help locating a place to live near a Greenbelt, and by the way, there's so many more. I didn't mention all of them. These are just the ones that came to my mind that I enjoy. But if you want help looking for a place to live on one of these Greenbelts, please reach out to me. I have a team of real estate agents, Hutchison Property Group. We've helped hundreds of people buy homes, sell homes in this area, and we can help you find the right neighborhood next to the right Greenbelt. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you get to spend some time in nature while you're here in Austin. But reach out, 512-309-1991. My info's in the description, and I would love to help you. Thanks.